Every revolution creates heroes, but the biggest fortunes are usually made by someone you've never heard of. Artificial intelligence is the biggest technological revolution of our lifetime. Right now, the smartest companies on Earth are spending hundreds of billions of dollars, fighting over something one company quietly finished building before most of them even existed. This story isn't about who built the smartest AI. It's about who prepared for it decades before everyone else. Today, that company sits at the center of almost every major AI breakthrough on Earth. Most people think it won because of AI. They're looking in the wrong decade. This story doesn't begin with ChatGPT. It doesn't even begin with artificial intelligence. It begins nearly 20 years earlier, with a decision that looked expensive, risky, almost absurd. Investors questioned it. Competitors ignored it. The world barely noticed. And by the time everyone finally understood what had been built, they weren't competing with NVIDIA anymore. They were depending on it. The advantage that made NVIDIA the world's most valuable company didn't begin with artificial intelligence. It began with survival. In the early 1990s, Silicon Valley was crowded with startups chasing the future of computer graphics. Every founder believed they were building the next tech giant. Most disappeared without a trace. NVIDIA almost became one of them. Its early products struggled. Revenue stalled. Cash evaporated. At one point, the company was only months away from shutting its doors. Experiences like that leave scars. Most companies become cautious. They build what customers already want. They protect what they have. NVIDIA did the opposite. Instead of asking what customers wanted today, they asked a different question. What will the world need tomorrow? For Jensen Huang, it became an obsession. While everyone else raced to win the next product cycle, NVIDIA began planning for the next decade. It was a dangerous way to build a company. Wall Street rewards certainty, not billion-dollar bets on a future that doesn't exist yet. But NVIDIA had learned something failure teaches better than success. By the time everyone agrees the future has arrived, it's already too late to build it. So instead of asking, "Where is the market today?" they asked, "Where will computing be in 10 years?" That question led them somewhere almost nobody else was looking. Not faster graphics, not better games. A completely different idea of what a graphics chip could become. They realized the real power of a chip wasn't the silicon. It was what the silicon could be taught to do. In 2006, NVIDIA made a decision that confused investors, puzzled competitors, and quietly reshaped the future of computing. They didn't release a revolutionary new chip. They released something almost nobody thought mattered: software. In 2006, Jensen Huang made a decision that almost nobody understood. NVIDIA was finally finding its footing. Its graphics cards were selling. Gamers loved them. The obvious path was clear. Build faster GPU, sell more of them, keep growing. Instead, Jensen chose a very different path. He asked a question almost no one else was asking. What if a graphics processor could do far more than render graphics? It was a radical idea. So radical that NVIDIA began spending millions of dollars building software for hardware it had already sold. The project was called CUDA. It wasn't another graphics feature. It was a new language for talking to GPU. To investors, CUDA looked like an expensive science experiment. There were no major customers, no clear business model. And for years, almost nobody used it. Jensen wasn't trying to win the present. He was building infrastructure for a future nobody could yet see. It was like building an airport. Before airplanes existed, for years, CUDA looked like an extraordinary solution to a problem the world didn't think it had. But while Wall Street focused on quarterly earnings, something very different was happening inside research labs. Researchers began using GPU for problems they were never designed to solve. The same chips that could render millions of pixels could also process enormous amounts of data in parallel. CUDA made that power programmable. Suddenly, a graphics processor wasn't limited to drawing images. It could become whatever software asked it to be. Quietly, the GPU stopped being just a graphics chip. It became a general-purpose computing engine. NVIDIA wasn't just selling hardware anymore. It was building an ecosystem that would become almost impossible to leave. Almost nobody noticed, except a small group of AI researchers. And what they were about to discover would change everything. For 6 long years, NVIDIA's biggest bet looked like a mistake. CUDA wasn't making headlines. It wasn't making Wall Street excited. Outside a handful of research labs, the future was hiding in plain sight. Then, everything changed. In 2012, a team at the University of Toronto unveiled a neural network called AlexNet. It didn't just win one of the world's biggest computer vision competitions. It marked the beginning of modern AI. The breakthrough wasn't just the algorithm. It was the computing power behind it. AlexNet had been trained on NVIDIA GPU, using CUDA. Suddenly, artificial intelligence wasn't limited by ideas. It was limited by computation. Researchers around the world reached the same conclusion. If you wanted smarter AI, you needed more compute. And if you needed more compute, you needed NVIDIA. But NVIDIA's greatest advantage wasn't the chip. It was the ecosystem built around it. For nearly 2 decades, researchers, developers, universities, and AI frameworks had all grown around CUDA. Every breakthrough made the ecosystem stronger. By the time competitors understood what NVIDIA had built, it was already too late. Money could build factories. Money could hire engineers. But it couldn't recreate 20 years of software, 20 years of trust, 20 years of adoption. Then, in November 2022, OpenAI released ChatGPT. Within weeks, millions experienced modern AI for the first time. Within months, every major technology company declared AI its highest priority. Demand for NVIDIA's GPUs exploded. The biggest companies on Earth weren't asking, how do we beat NVIDIA? They were asking, how quickly can we get more of it? Because the race was no longer about building better chips. It was about building intelligence. And by the time the world realized what AI needed, NVIDIA had already become the foundation beneath it. Every revolution changes the world, but history is often shaped by forces the world barely notices. It remembers the ones that quietly make the revolution possible. The internet transformed civilization. But first, someone had to build the servers. Electric cars reshaped transportation. But first, someone had to build the batteries. Artificial intelligence will create extraordinary companies, perhaps even reshape civilization itself. But beneath every breakthrough, someone has to build the foundation first. That's what NVIDIA understood long before the rest of the world. It didn't try to predict the next killer application. It prepared for the next era of computing itself. While everyone else chased the next opportunity, NVIDIA built the foundation every future breakthrough would stand on. And that's a lesson far bigger than artificial intelligence. The future rarely belongs to the company that reacts first. It belongs to the one that prepares first. Because every revolution has its heroes. The founders, the inventors, the visionaries. But behind every hero, there is always an invisible force. The people who build the foundation before the world knows it needs one. And more often than not, that's where history's greatest fortunes are made.